Welcome to Be Me with Shari Ware, the podcast where each day is a step towards a better you and where we focus on progress, not perfection. Join me as we embark on a journey of self-improvement and wellness, focusing on being just a little better than we were yesterday.
Hello and welcome to episode 24 of the Be Me podcast. My name's Shari Ware, I'm your host, and in this episode we are checking our perfectionist hat at the door and we are talking about focusing on progress over perfection. And I am definitely what I call a recovering perfectionist. So for any of you out there who have struggled with the need for everything to be perfect, and if it's ever held you back in your life and stopped you from achieving some things, hopefully this episode will help you to become a recovering perfectionist like me. It's still something that I work on every day, but every day it gets a little bit easier, and I find it much easier to let things go now than what I did what I was able to in my younger years. So, Tim Ferriss, who wrote the very popular book, The 4-Hour Workweek, and he wrote some other books around the same kind of formula. He said that perfection is an impossible destination, and he's 100% correct about that. So let's talk about all the things. Letting go of perfectionism. How does perfectionism impact your life? Why is it beneficial to let it go? And how do you actually do that? How do you break free? So, quite often, and I know this definitely applied to me in my younger years, I saw being a perfectionist as a badge of honour. It made me feel good, gave me significance, I guess, is what it did. But what I didn't realise, eventually I realised, but back in my younger years, I didn't realise how limiting it was and how it actually stopped me from achieving things, because I was just focused on things having to be perfect. When you are focused on everything having to be perfect, it just creates unnecessary stress. It stunts or prevents personal growth. And one of the biggest things is that it makes it really easy to not see the progress that you've made because you're focused on everything being perfect. So you don't see that you've made progress. And it's really important for us to, as human beings, to see that we've made progress, and that actually helps us to make more progress. But when you're focused on everything being perfect, you generally don't see that. It's an unattainable standard. Think about the times when, if you are a recovering perfectionist like myself, when you have actually achieved what you initially thought was perfect. And then you get there and then you think, oh, but it could be better. If I did it this way, or if I did that, it would be better. So we're just never happy. Even if we achieve the goal, then as human beings, we are driven to achieve goals. So you get to one and then you just choose the next goal. We need to keep moving forward in our life. That's part of the human condition. So you're never going to achieve perfect, because as soon as you get to what you thought was perfect, you just think that it could be better and are looking towards that. And it really leads to procrastination. When you're continually focused on perfection, it leads to procrastination, because what if you're worried? And I know this has definitely applied to me. I've been concerned that I was not going to achieve perfect. So that can stop you from even trying, because you don't necessarily believe that you can actually achieve it in the first place. It can lead to burnout, and it can lead to a lack of self-compassion. And it generally creates this cycle of self-criticism and just not being happy, of being really dissatisfied. So as you can see, it can really have a really big impact on our lives, and that's all those reasons are why it's really important for us to let it go. So how do you do that? How do you break free? So that's why we want to focus on progress rather than focusing on perfection. When we focus on progress, and when I say focus on progress, it doesn't matter how big or small the progress is. In fact, any small progress, any step in the right direction is something that we want to focus on and we want to celebrate. And when we do that, it creates reactions in our brain. This is all neuroscience that actually help us to keep progressing, because we want to keep getting that feeling. It's the dopamine hit. When we're focusing on making progress, we're really happy that we've made progress, even if it's small progress. And when we're focusing on that, it just makes us, gives us momentum and motivation to keep doing that, keep taking that next step and continuing to move forward. You want to be shifting your focus to setting realistic goals. The S.T.E.P.S Formula will help you to set realistic goals and help you to implement them. So I will make sure that I give you the resources in the show notes. Another strategy is to ensure that you are adopting a growth mindset, which really just means that instead of seeing challenges and setbacks as failures, you're seeing them as learning and growth. I remind myself constantly that there's no such thing as failure. There's only learning. Even if something doesn't go the way I wanted it to go, I've learned something from that. And by letting go of perfectionism, it doesn't mean that what you achieve won't still be at a high standard. It just means that you're more likely to actually achieve something rather than nothing, which is what happens a lot of times when we're focused on being perfect. When we're focusing on progress and growth, we also allow ourselves more room, more space for innovation and creativity, and it makes us happier. So hopefully that is helpful for you if you are like me and you are a recovering perfectionist. There is hope, I promise. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. I will direct you to the corresponding Be Me Bites edition, which is Be Me Bites 22, Letting Go of Perfection, Focusing on Progress for Personal Growth. And you'll find the links to the S.T.E.P.S Formula in that edition. And also, I really like people to check out the Be Me Bites edition because there's generally resources in there. I always put extra resources in the written edition that will help people if they're wanting to learn more or implement more about each topic. So if you go there, you'll have access to those, and you might also find some things in the written edition that didn't make it into the podcast. So that's it for this episode. Until the next episode, keep taking one step at a time. See ya.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Remember to check out the show notes, and if you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, I'd love to hear them. If you've received value from this podcast, make sure to subscribe, and I'd love you to rate and review the show. Have a fabulous day.